the walls down. Scroobuis, you know I got ya. Break the walls down, break down the walls. For those about to rock, I'm what ya want. Maybe you know you're Judas, and I'm your priest. Baby, what I got is not from the least. Bring it from the stage, in the rage of the beast. Steady lean, break the walls down. Steady lean, break the walls down. Break the walls down.
Heyo! Hello everyone. Sorry for that slightly shaky start, but we restarted and we go again. How is everyone? Are you all good? Lovely to see loads of you in right from the get-go. Can you hear the heavy rain and wind outside? It is a soundproof studio, so you shouldn't get too much of it, but it's crazy. Hello, Noel. Hello. First comments there from It's Half Pint. There's Guzbo. I saw Cade in there earlier as well. Arseface, Llama. All the regulars. Humble. I saw my dad pop up, I think. I was panicking a bit because, as you saw, it wasn't working. So I was a bit all over the place. I was recording Arseface and Llama, not Arseface Llama. Amy, hello. Arseface is a legend of the David Earl streams. Is it Arseface who's Mark Bronson? It's been a while, man. I can't remember now. Hello, PG. Haven't got a clue. That's all good. You're very welcome here. It's all lovely. Yeah, the weather's been insane. Today, right, I had a self-tape audition to do. I had a podcast to do. I had some other recording bits, and obviously we've got Words Wednesday and then The Purge. I'll be doing a stream straight after this stream over on Rust. Hopefully some of you will stay around. And then there's a sub from Del to me to get the emotes. I'll explain some of this because I know there's a load of people who are on here for the first time. Yeah, halfway through this podcast, the guest over Zoom stopped and went, "Is there a weird noise on the line?" And I had to say, "No, but I think my house is about to cave in because of the heavy rain." It was like 5 minutes. Absolute madness. But yes, if you do choose to subscribe, not that you have to, a lot of you are going to be new to this evening because Words Wednesday, it's the first time I've done this. You can subscribe and you get all these cool little emotes that you're probably seeing somewhere. Look, the rain has stopped completely now. That was heavy rain for ages. I was shouting because of how loud it was. You get these wonderful emotes. You get to join the Discord. Buster Hawk, thank you for the gifted sub to Arseface. I love it. And if you've got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free. I've made a video about it, but I don't want to hard sell any of you because you're all beautiful people. You're all welcome to watch just for free. You can comment. I don't have any kind of restrictions. No subscribers only. No followers only. Base Quando, thank you for the subscription there. There is a video humble one, but come on, I don't want to hard sell these people. There's exclusive emotes available apparently for a limited time because of the hype train. Don't panic if you're new. If you're new to Twitch, don't panic with everything that's going on. It's okay. I don't want to scare you off. It's all very chill and calm. But we've all been playing. Essentially, we've been having this party for a month. And you lot have just turned up. And we're so welcoming to you. But there is going to be some, some confusion. There's cheering. People are cheering. There's emotes. No one knows what a hype train is. I don't really know what a hype train is, Katie. I still don't understand it. I used to see him on David Earl all the time, and I didn't know if he had to trigger them. I think essentially if a load of people subscribe, I'm going to get comfy as I just remembered that we're not doing any gaming. If loads of people subscribe or tip or give gift subscriptions, as Kablam has just given to you, Katie Pop, There's exclusive emotes available, all things like that. Kilo gifting a sub here. Look at this. This is a nice start to the day, isn't it? A nice start to the stream. A lot of you are confused. Florence doesn't understand any of this. I don't either, mate. But it is a hype thing. Loads of lovely people straight in off the bat. A defined poetic. How many of you are in here for the first time? Make yourselves known. You are very welcome. Exactly, Skull full of Ella. It's confusing to people who aren't used to Twitch, but none of it is massively important to the stream. Tom Dingo, you're gifting subs left, right, and centre. I appreciate you. Katie Pop, it is your first time. Well, you're very welcome. Cheer from Lara. Honestly, it will chill out in a minute and we'll start. Oh, I am Frolicles giving out 5 community subs. I mean, we only need 3 more subs to go over 200 subs. So I'm not suggesting that anyone subs. Honestly, that isn't what this stream in particular is about. So I'm just chewing away a bit of skin. Oh, update on my thumb. I bit off the flap and now it's just a little dot of blood. So that's good. Yes, me and Dan did a stream, Drake, there's years ago for the relaunch of the vinyl. God, there's loads of lovely people in. This is lovely. We've got 106 people in already off the bat. And Buster Hawk has just thrown out another 5 subs to get loads of you new people fully hooked. Okay, no more flap chat. Okay, it's a long story, guys. I mean, we just seem like the weirdos now. There's all these new people here. And we seem like the weirdos. But it's Words Wednesday. It's the first stream where I'm not doing any gaming. My dad hasn't got a clue what's going on. He lives near the train station and the hype train hasn't passed through. That's fine. Grumble Paws gifting subs. Right, let's all calm down. I appreciate the subs, but let's not panic anyone. Then DeVille in the chat for the first time, I think. Or second time, maybe. Let's all calm down a bit. There's a lot of cheering and subs. It's all very overwhelming. Everyone relax. Everyone relax, and we're going to have a nice, chilled Words Wednesday. Paulie, I'm glad you found your way in. I think I saw you tweeting unsure about it all. You're very welcome here. So yeah, Words Wednesday is something I thought I'd do to try and give something for all the people who are fans of my music, and I've stopped doing my music. So kind of to bring a few of them into this Twitch community to show that it's kind of all right and it's not that weird. I mean, we're not doing the best job of showing them it's not that weird, but here we are. So I'm going to answer questions, any questions you've got about lyrics, but hold off for a second because I thought to ease us in, I dug out some props and stuff from from my touring days. So I thought I'd show you some of them bits. As you can see, there's loads of things in the background. There's my Soccer AM balls, 2 of them. But we when do we get a Q&A on your acting career? We can do one of them. We can do what can we call that? Film Friday, Filming Friday, maybe. Yeah, they won't have seen the Power Glove acting, but that's fine. Yeah, I thought I'd ease you in by showing you a few props. On the normal streams, we grab something from the background and we have a look at it close up. If you see there, no, can't do that. It's mirrored. See, that is one of the puppets from the No Nimbus video. You can see there, and there's a cuddly toy there from the introduction video. There's a power glove. There's loads of good things, but that's not what Words Wednesday is about. That's what the regular ones are about. So, the first thing I thought I'd show you, Thespian Thursday. All over that, Wily Cat. All over that. Yeah, that's the double hat-trick. That's two hat-trick balls on top of each other. I still can't get this mirrored thing there and there. Yeah, I went on Joe Wilkinson and David Earl's podcast to talk about Millwall. That was an awkward one because I'm kind of in a weird place with Millwall at the moment. This is a set list, the set list from my Edinburgh Fringe show. If you see there, you might think that says Kinder. It says Kinder. I had a joke I'd do about Kinder surprises. Here, there. I don't know what that means. Yeah. So that my Edinburgh Fringe show is available to download on my website. It's the best spoken word show I ever did. And that's why we ended up filming it. I did it 19 nights in a row at the Fringe, and about 10 nights in, I went, what? This is never going to be better. It's never going to be tighter. The Kinder joke isn't even a joke, actually. I think I just told them about the Kinder story. So, the Kinder story was... Hang on, I'm reading all the comments. I'm getting distracted. Me and my brother genuinely used to do this. I don't think I told the full version on the thing because I had to keep it short. But yeah, because in the show I said something about a Kinder surprise to lead into it. But we would go out and buy Kinder eggs, and I'd carefully unwrap them, and then we'd buy actual eggs, and we'd wrap the actual eggs up and sneak them back into the shop. So some poor kids would go and buy a Kinder egg, a Kinder surprise, and get a real fucking surprise. So yeah. Hang on, look at this. Only visible to me. I've received some extra emotes. A Hype Train Level 4 emote, apparently. Don't know what that means. I've just shared a thing. So we'd do that and we'd sneak it into the shop and kids would buy it and we'd try and hang about to watch someone. But also there was a beauty in doing a prank that you never get to see the result of. And people have asked, Llama was asking if we genuinely did that. And I just saw 10:30 in the room, and this is a great time to reveal that Llama... Yes, we did. Yeah, we got the new 10:30 cam. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the new 10:30 cam. So yeah, we'd sneak that in. I set that up minutes before the stream. In dedication to 10:30. I saw his one the other day and it's brilliant. So I've named it. I've put the label on. It's the 10:30 cam. His is behind him, but I've not got the angles for that. Yeah. So the reason we did that was I had an arm injury, and we wanted I just I just got my nipple pierced, guys. I'm remembering this all. I just got my nipple pierced, and we wanted to distract ourselves from the pain. The reason I'd got the nipple pierced was because I had a sore arm, and I went to the doctors, and the doctor said there's nothing wrong with it. So I thought, right, to distract myself from the sore arm, I'll get my nipple pierced. And then my nipple really hurt. So to distract myself from the nipple piercing, we went and unwrapped Kinder eggs and wrapped up real eggs and snuck them back into the shop. So we were weird kids. But yeah, that's something that me and my brother did. And it is like a weird nursery rhyme. It is like the old woman who swallowed a spider and so on and so forth. So yeah, that distracted us enough from the pain in the nipple and the pain in the arm, just getting that humour. of laughing at people getting eggs. Anyway, on to the next thing. The next pop. How old was I? I was 18, 19. Yes. My dad's initials, in fact, are CAM. So that could be a tribute. The 1030 cam could be 1030 Christopher Anthony Meads. Maybe my dad's about to become a streamer and try and rival you all. Yeah, it wasn't 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't young enough to be justified. So the next thing I'm going to show you is my letter from God to man. So this is one of the ones I used to use on stage. And right until the end, I genuinely have it all written out. So the song, A Letter from God to Man, it is all typed out. And I'd read it. Oh, someone has vandalised this. I don't know who. I'd imagine it's one of my friends. Oh, they've made loads of additions. I didn't even get to see this. Here's one of the lines. And all the beautiful art you've created with such grace and such finesse, but I must admit there are a few things I'm afraid have impressed me less. And a friend of mine, probably Chris, has written, like the fact I still don't know these fucking words. Or these words. There's a fucking later on. Vandalism. Odds on it was Chris. Although, this is an interesting fact. A couple of years back, just before Christmas, I was broken into. And the thieves went through, they trashed my house. And they found my bag with all of my stage stuff in and threw it about a bit, expecting there to be money. And they broke the locks on it. Expecting there to be money in there, but it was just this. So maybe the person who broke into my house was actually someone who knows me, and they vandalised this out of rage. You never know. You never know. That was a lot more civilised than you were expecting, Llama, but I didn't read the last one that says, it was you that used my teachings for your own personal gain. It was you that commit such tragedies, even if they were in my name. And then it just says David Cocksucker Meads, which is my actual... The cocksucker part isn't my actual name, but that's my actual name. So there's that. And we'll get to questions in a bit. But the most important bit, this was used from probably the first gig me and Dan Lassac ever did onwards. And I kept it in good condition. This is the Bible of Dan and Pip. And this is what I would read Thou Shalt Always Kill from. Another one I never really learnt the words to. Yeah. So this was... We played that at every gig me and Dan ever did together. It's falling apart, but yeah. This was every show. And I had Stake a Claim at the back there, which is an ever relevant one. I made this with like paper mache. The actual book it is a thing you used to get given when you started working at HMV, and it's like a... Well, what do they actually call it? It's the Great Rock Discography. And it's got like... You look up any band, and it's got their kind of albums, release dates. It's amazing. So... De La Soul I just landed on, and it will tell you 3 Feet High and Rising was March 89. Me, Myself and I, Brainwashed, 7-inch was March 89. June 89 was Say No Go. They don't know that the soul don't go for that. And yeah, you got all these different bands in there. Cooler Shaker. Oh, I wonder if they've released one that we're in. If there's anyone who works in HMV, that's a mad thought. I'd never thought about that. If there's anyone who works in HMV, on the back it had a quote which I didn't realise I'd put into a song. Hello, Portessa. So there's a quote I've always liked from Publius Syrus, written in 42 BC. A Dead a Soul on Twitch. I didn't even know that. That's dope. Give them a follow. I need to give them a follow. So I didn't realise I'd put this in a song. I'm bad at my lyrics, which is going to bode well for this discussion of lyrics. And I tweeted a few years back, I've always loved this quote. Because I found this book, Observation, Not Old Age Brings Wisdom. And I've always liked that. So that it's not about how old you are, it's about how much attention you've paid. And I tweeted saying, always loved this quote. And people thought I was saying my own lyrics and just going, always loved these lyrics of mine. Here's a classic quote from me. Anyway, that's my little show and tell section. Has anyone got any questions about my lyrics? Oh, look, Andy and Den both in. Anyone got any questions? As said, I'll try and just keep an eye on them. Something on stage at Camp Festival, one of the best live shows I've been to. Always love Camp Festival. There have been a couple of questions, have there, Llama? You'd love to hear about waiting for the beat to kick in. Okay, we'll start with that. I'm organising this as best I can. Llama, if you want to grab any and send them to me somewhere, I don't even know where, ignore that. Waiting for the beat to kick in, interestingly, was written and recorded when I don't know if he knows this, I know he's in the chat, was written and recorded in my dad's flat. I was flat sitting for my dad. I can't remember why. And yeah, it's based on how films have influenced me. It always annoyed me that we'd call the TV the idiot box. And I think that's an old way of thinking. Like, there was a time when novels and that came out and they were seen as frivolous because they're not factual texts. So I wrote about different characters that had influenced me over the years. So in this kind of dream story, I bump into Elwood P. Dowd from Harvey. I bump into Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything. I bump into Billy Brown from Buffalo 66. Is there 4? And then I bump into Walter Neff from Double Indemnity. And I kind of just tell, I talk to them in the piece, and tell the story. I found some old lyric books the other day, and I think it had the intro to Waiting for the Beat to Kick In. Let me have a quick look. Let me have a look. Let's see if I can find it, and I'll do it. There's a love like this. No. Oh, here we go. So I wrote the intro kind of based on a Blueprint track. Let's see if we can make it work. I ain't performed any of these and I ain't a performer anymore. You know this. Andy, gifting a sub to Den. I love you for that. Silently, I step up with a subversive subtext and try to feed the need for more than just remedial subjects. I place my faith in the belief that the general public will open up their minds to more than just an industry puppet. I ain't a preacher preaching doom and gloom, or not just yet, but if there's a subject I feel strongly about, then I'll discuss it. And if I only make one album before I kick the bucket, I'll hold the album to my heart in my grave and say, fuck it. So it's mad that I wrote that in this book while flat sitting at my dad's house. And yeah, all of Waiting for the Beat to Kick In was written in that kind of period. So yeah, there we go. There's the first question answered, I think. And then Dan made this amazing beat for it. We never ever played it live. It's one of the only songs we never played live because I didn't think it'd work live, and it was too much. It's too long to learn. It's like an 8-minute track. Right, I'm just going to scroll down now. I paused it, so I should be able to keep up with everyone. I am Frolicles. I have a question. Was the last train home based on a single incident or multiple trips? That's based on multiple trips. As my dad said, he lives just outside Stamford Station over there. The train home from London, the last train home from Fenchurch Street on the Tilbury line was always a mess. I once played a gig with The Cure, Steve Coogan, and Professor Brian Cox. Right? I was doing spoken word. They were all doing their thing. I could have sat side stage. I went and sat on the floor in the Hammersmith Apollo and watched. It was amazing. That could give you an ego if you weren't then getting the train home after that, and a group of girls from Tilbury tried to put makeup on you and steal your shoes and set your beard on fire. They didn't manage any of those things. But yeah, that was the last train home, and that was my experience for a long time of getting that last train home. So yeah, there's one for you. I am Frolicles, a big sub-gifter. Yeah, what's the deal with the spelling of Phoenix in Thou Shalt Always Kill? Always wondered about that lyric. The thing you got to remember about Thou Shalt Always Kill is I wrote that in my bedroom at my mum's house and recorded the original vocals in this. So the original single was recorded in some mattresses, a microphone gaffer taped to a stepladder. And it was the first thing that me and Dan Lassac did together. So we had no idea no one was ever going to hear it. Phoenix was just, it looks like it's spelt wrong, right? It's not Phoenix. Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix. So it should be, yeah. Rather than the way it is spelt, which is Phoenix, I felt Phoenix. I can forgive the O more in that context rather than it going Phoenix. So that's the only thing there. A follow from Orpheus. Orpheus, if it's the same Orpheus, I presume it is, produced Soulja Boy Kill 'Em on my Distraction Pieces album with me and B Dolan, who followed me a couple of hours ago as well. Can't believe B's only just followed me, rude prick. But yeah, that's the thing with Thou Shalt Always Kill. A lot of it isn't going to make a lot of sense, and a lot of it intentionally contradicts. I had someone tweet me the other day saying, are there any lyrics that you'd change in Thou Shalt? Do you still live by any of it? It's like, no, you could never live by all of it. You can't do a 3-minute song that's telling you what to do that ends with the line, thou shalt think for yourselves. Yeah, that's kind of, it contradicts. Thou shalt not take the names of Johnny Cash, etc. in vain, but thou shalt not put musicians, recording artists on ridiculous pedestals. So on and so forth. They go back and forth. I once saw you outside Coco before Atmosphere. Yes, mate. Was Orpheus at that one as well? No, it was outside Buck 65. So the first week I ever did any gigs, they were all street performances. I tried some just street corners, it didn't work. That week, Buck 65 was playing at the Barfly and Atmosphere were playing at Coco. So for both of them, I turned up with one of the Ghetto Blasters that are behind me, the small one. turned up with this. With this. And with this. So, I would turn up with that, some cables, and this loop pedal. I'd beatbox into it and loop it. And I'd build up, and then I'd rap over the top. This hasn't got any kind of functions for dropping things in or out. You just literally record, bang, that'll loop. If you want to add something to it, boom, that adds it to it, boom, that adds it, but it's looping, it's constant. There's no other controls. So yeah, I'd do that outside other people's gigs, and that kicked it all off for me, That was where it all started. I'd never have anything for sale, because I think in the UK we've got a weird relationship with feeling that we're being sold to. So buskers and whatnot, you could have the most amazing musician in the world busking, and we'll walk past head down because we feel uncomfortable. So I'd just perform other people's gigs and say, look, you're going to watch the band that you love. There's probably going to be a support act. I'm an extra unofficial support act for free. And I'd hand out flyers. That was the key thing, so people could go and find me on MySpace. And yeah, that was how I started off. And Atmosphere was, I think, the third one I did. The first one I ever did was a DJ Shadow album playback party. That same day, I think, in the evening was Buck 65, and then a few days later was Atmosphere at Coco. What's your favourite rhyme you've ever written? I'm a multi-syllabic nerd and have clocked a few in your stuff. Yeah, I mean, Look for the Woman was always a good one for syllables and rhyme patterns. My head's in a mess and I'm stressed, and I guess it's a test in the quest for happiness and the rest of that mess, so I best just acquiesce, even though I've grown tired of you. And, stuff like that was always a buzz. The Beat of My Heart Skipped had a lot of that stuff. Sick Tonight had some multi-syllable stuff. But, I mean, I'm going to have to look towards You See a Mousetrap, I See Free Cheese and a Fucking Challenge as a line, because that changed the game for me a bit. But You Will See Me is probably the song that I'm most proud of. I'll tell you a secret. These days in this acting world, if I have some kind of interaction with a director or producer or writer or someone I'm a fan of, and we exchange contact details, or if I'm just hitting them up to say I want to work with you, as an explanation of where I come from, I'll normally send the You Will See Me video, because I think a lot of artists will understand that, and I hope it'll make them go, oh shit, this guy seems like he's in some way artistic, I guess. Stewpot. When you grow up, did you really want to be an astronaut? I didn't. That was a track by Yiller, and Yiller had basically made that beat, and it had he had watched a TV show, a documentary, and there was a kid going, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. So I wrote off the back of that. That was just the catalyst. I'm working it through. How long did it take you to get 1,000 words down to 1,000 words? Hard to say, down to or up to. So for anyone who doesn't know, one of the first songs I ever wrote was a song called 1,000 Words, and it's the story of when I almost drowned as a kid. It's how I got my stammer. But it's exactly 1,000 words long. So I say at the start, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so with these 1,000 words, I'll paint a picture in your mind that breaks the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds bit was just because I was a photography student at the time, or had been, and the rule of thirds, and as an art student, I did A-level art and photography, and then I went to uni to do art, and it didn't work out. So yeah, that was that. And it was a bit of a kind of a trimming and extending and cutting and trimming and extending, and there's a few different words in there that I've used as tools, like a few different things that I say that could be one word or could be two word, and it only changed the meaning ever so slightly. And that was for when I'm performing it live. For if I trip up and leave out a the or a something, there's normally a word. If someone was to be counting it, which would be a weird way to enjoy a gig. If someone was to be counting it, I could go, no, you've made a mistake there. Actually, you think it's 99 words, but it's this, or vice versa. You think that was 1,002, but those words, that's one word, and that's one word. So it was all. I was clever with that shit. Cheers, Lee. I sent a Q earlier, P, about STR. Yeah, all I can do is scroll through these now. I don't know where you sent the Q earlier. But I'll get to... As I said, I'm scrolling through these. I've paused the chat, in case you've not realised. I've paused the chat so that I can scroll through and catch all the questions. What is your creative place look like? The space you go to create songs. Well, I've not done any songs in ages, obviously, but I now, like when I'm working on scripts and stuff, I love writing anywhere near water. With songs, it was just constantly in the notes on my phone. In the notes app, just note, and then it all comes together at some point. When Dan Lassac would send me a new beat, I'd always try and go for or a collection of beats. I'd go for a walk and listen to them, because I found if I listen to them sat down, I don't take them in. I'm skipping or I'm not paying attention. Whereas if I get them all on an iPhone at the time, or no, iPod at the time, headphones in, let's go for a walk, make note of the ones I'm buzzing off. I still remember when he sent the beat for Stunner, and I emailed... No, I text Zane Lowe that night to say, some point in the next year, I've got your hottest record in the world. Zane Lowe used to DJ on Radio 1 and he'd do hottest record in the world each week, I think it was. And about 6 months later, Dana came out and Zane made it his hottest record in the world. I hadn't even written it at that point. I just heard the beat from Dan and I was like, this is too good. This is too good. Yes, Meatballs. Out of all the people you mentioned in Thou Shalt Always Kill, then met later on, who had the best reaction? Let me have a look. I remember doing a podcast with Ricky from the Kaisers, and I remember him being annoyed that they weren't in the list. Russell from Block Party is a good mate now. He's not said that much about it. I've not met that many of them, you know. Not really met the Radiohead lot. Oasis no, Pixies no. Almost had a Frank Black on the podcast, and I was going to bring it up then. Nirvana no, the Smiths no. At this point, I wouldn't want to. Oh no, I met I used to do a club night with the drummer from the Smiths. What's his name? I've forgotten his name. Good lad though, but by all intents and purposes, Morrissey seems like a fucking bellend. Minor Threat not met. Clash not met. The Beatles not met. Zeppelin, the Beach Boys, and the Pistols. I've not met any of them. So maybe it was Serge from Kasabian who said that they were annoyed that they weren't in the list. I thought they were. Arctic Monkeys not met. Yeah. Next big thing, who knows if I've met them or not. No, not Steve Ignorant. Hang on. Who was the original drummer of the Smiths? He's a really good lad. We DJ'd together a few times and we drank together a few more times. Anyway, that's not important. Yes, so I've mainly met people who... Mike Joyce, thank you, Kablam. Yeah, Mike Joyce, top lad. Yeah, I've mainly met bands who wish they were in the list. So Kasabian, Kaisers, a few others. which is lovely. I guess it's only block party, and I've only met Russell. I've not met what's his name. Also enjoyed watching you murder a dude on Taboo. Yeah, I murder a few over that series. It's good fun. This is now people. Mate, so many tracks I'm curious about. Bring the questions, Del, to me. Yeah, I've just seen 10:30 apologising to Lama about the killing. We're going to be on Rust later this evening, and there's been some dark things going on. How did you wangle a recording at the Royal Albert Hall? I think they approached me to do a gig there, and it's in the small room, but I don't put that on the CD. It's in the small room, but I just recorded live at the Royal Albert Hall. It was me. I was playing that night with Polar Bear and Kay Tempest. So Kay is next week's podcast guest, amazing friend and poet. So yeah, that was it. I blagged it. I don't think I really had permission to release it or to put the name of the venue on my CD, but it's my label. And no one really, I'm not big enough for people to fuck with too much. I was going to say, no one really fucks with me, but I made that sound like I'm a bad man. But there's the same with the Fringe. I'm pretty sure I signed some stuff to say I wouldn't release my Fringe show, but I emailed just enough people that didn't say no to me that I could argue it in court, I reckon. Enough of the people who I worked with there didn't say a hard no, so that's a yes, isn't it? Only in that context. No means no in general. Another one from Stu. Curious, when you were young, did you want to grow up to be an... Oh, no, I've already answered that. No, you've reposted it because I asked people to repost. But I don't really remember what I wanted to be when I was younger. I wanted to be a vet for ages because I bloody loved animals and I loved dogs, but never had one as a kid because we had cats. But yeah. What are some other fictional characters you've learned from since writing Waiting for the Beat to Kick In? Loads, man. I learn from films constantly. I probably learn more from films than from anything else. I recently watched a film called Dinner in America that I can't recommend highly enough. The director's first film got banned everywhere because it was some mad, messed up shit. I don't even know if I can talk about it on Twitch because of terms of service. There was the story in the film involved a lot of like torture and stuff. And for the art of the film, they actually carried out the torture. Everyone consenting, but still you shouldn't be able to consent to being tortured for a film. A weird one. But he then made a film called Dinner in America, which isn't anything like that. It's more like, I don't know, I don't want to compare it to things because it will lead you on the wrong path. But I can't recommend that enough. It's available on Blu-ray. I think it's on offer at the moment. Dinner in America. Big recommends. What can you share about Porter? It's such an entertaining track. I can share that when I told B. Dolan and Dan Lassac about it while we were walking around Newcastle trying to find some food, they looked at me like a fucking weirdo, and I don't think it made any sense. But I've had a load of songs like that in trying to explain it just that doesn't make any sense, but recording it, you go, here it is. The Struggle is a prime example of that. Me and Steve Mason up in Scotland, I drove all the way up to, where is he? He's somewhere really far. It's past your Edinburghs and all that. I can't think where he is. I drove up there in one day and I got there at like a 10 or something, and we grabbed some fish and chips. Is he in Fife? He might be in Fife. we grabbed some fish and chips, and then we were talking about the track that we'd been kind of emailing ideas about. And then he went, well, should we just go in the studio? And we stayed up until about 4 or 5 o'clock recording all of The Struggle, essentially. I'd been writing, but yeah, hadn't finished it. And we recorded it all in one night. And then we woke up in the morning and did some extra bits and touched it up. And then I drove home that same day. So it was under 24 hours up there. And I drove home and I got halfway home and I was listening to we'd burnt a CD of it. And I was like, this fucking bangs. And I got a phone call from Steve. And I was like, are you ringing because you're not sure if we've made something great or something fucking ridiculous? And he was like, yeah. I was like, honestly, I think it's great. I think it's dope. Because it is that weird. It's a song about Johnny Depp being a serial killer. On the surface, it's a song about Johnny Depp being a serial killer. I've just seen a more recent question. Speaking of The Struggle, why Johnny Depp? I thought about that a lot. And obviously he's been through a lot of different things in recent years. And a lot of people, there's been accusations. Again, I don't know about any of it, but I certainly ain't backing the dude. I'm also not going after him because I don't know the ins and outs of this. But I thought about who to choose, and I wanted to choose someone that wouldn't be obvious. First choice was Willem Dafoe, but I thought, nah, you hear that Willem Dafoe's a serial killer. Again, you're looking back in 2010, I guess I wrote that. You're not going to be surprised. He's a weird-looking dude. But I thought, Johnny Depp, he's that famous that he could get away with it. It is surprising, but then when you hear it, you're like, oh, it's not that surprising. So yeah, I thought of a few different people, and Johnny was the one that seemed like a perfect fit. There were others I would have thought of, obviously, but Paul Blake, thank you for the cheer 6 minutes ago. Sorry I missed that. So yeah. How did I get onto that? I was meant to be talking about Porter. Porter was about the different people from different things. So imagining that Wendy from Peter Pan, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, one other, can't remember, were actually young women in a mental institute. And these were their hallucinations. And the porter is going around and he's kind of helping them. He's being nice. He's playing along to their hallucinations to make them as comfortable as possible. That probably comes from the influence of Harvey, the film Harvey, that kind of implies, look, we don't need to fix everyone. If people are doing no harm, there's nothing to say that one way of the brain working is any more valid than another way of the brain working. So yeah, that was what Porter was about. Oh, there we go. Always loved the wordplay in the intro to Distraction Pieces. So Introduction is that track, and that's the one I've got a chiptune version of by Chipsel as my intro to these streams. Yeah, Introduction was a mad one because that was essentially like, it's mad that that's one of my biggest songs because that was leftover lyrics. A lot of that was stuff that didn't work for stuff me and Dan Slack had been working on. And then when I decided to do a solo record, I was working with Danny Lona from Nine Inch Nails, Travis Barker on drums, Mila Jovovich on the backing vocals. And I kind of put all these, as I was saying earlier about all the lyrics on my notes, kind of put all these notes together. And it made Introduction. And that, in America, I'd say that's the biggest track I've had. Because that just blew me up. I made the video for £100. It went on to have millions and millions of views. And kind of gave me a record label. Like, I launched my record label with Distraction Pieces. I launched Distraction Pieces with Introduction. And we went from there. Yeah, this piece of diction is the intro to Distraction Pieces. Ruth Bate, not a lyric question but why did you stop making music and how? I was finished, to be completely honest. I was finished. I was done. Me and Dan originally signed a 3-album deal, and we signed at the same time as loads of mates of ours in the music industry, and I don't think any of them got to do their 3 albums on their label at the time. So we made 3 albums, and I was happy with it. I enjoyed every tour I did, but I could sense I was on the verge of not enjoying it anymore, and I didn't want to just make music because that's what I do as a job. So I kind of decided to call it a day. I let Dan know that I wanted this to be our last album. I said there's a small chance I might do a solo record after this, but I probably won't. Turns out I didn't. And then after that, I was doing the podcast already, and I wanted to spend a year trying to focus on acting. And then acting just stole my little heart completely. And it's all I want to do. And script writing. And I've never looked back. So, yeah. People are commenting about the last train home from Glasgow to Edinburgh, the roughness of that. Did Brian Cox do his spacey stuff, or Things Can Only Get Better? On that night, he did both. He did all his spacey stuff, and at the end, he was doing a talk, and he sat down. He did this big talk, and it ended with something along the lines of Things Can Only Get Better. And he sat down and just started playing it, and the dude from D-Ream came out. Is it D-Ream? Came out and sung that. It was madness, honestly. It was dope. Oh, look, I highlighted a message redeeming the tokens. In the Astounding Ernest Brace, you bring up a gig where you tried being real with performing how you wanted to, and it didn't go down how you thought. Was that a specific gig or a process that led you to not want to perform anymore? No, completely fiction. All of my songs are fiction. So Ernest Brace was just the idea of this kind of vaudeville type performer who, I think I was thinking a lot at the time of Al Murray. Weird. I know he's not a vaudeville performer, but Al Murray had a really weird thing where he did a character of the pub landlord that was a send-up of your kind of Britain first supporting types, and then it got really big, and he kind of had that audience, and he kind of had to choose if he goes with it or what. And that's kind of what the Ernest Brace thing was. It was about this vaudeville performer who kind of tried to change with the times, and then got successful and more successful, and then was like, hang on, this isn't the art to me. This isn't the art I believe in. Again, I was lucky I never had to do that. All the gigs I did were exactly how me and Dan Lasac wanted them to be. We did one at a Christian festival, and they cheered at Letter from God to Man in a way I wasn't comfortable with, because I'm not religious. But yeah, that was still a good show. They were nice people. It was just a bit, I'm not meant to be an evangelist. This is meant to be saying, look, religion, what do you reckon? So yeah, that's where that was. But yeah, the Astounding Ernest Brace is a bit of a rare one. I did a spoken word video for that. I shot a video for the spoken word version of that. Look at all these people. That is Orpheus there. So, I mean, I'm catching up. I'm quite far behind, but I'm now getting to skim past all just the comments. Distraction Pieces is your favourite album. Thank you very much. Spaghetti, you saw me in 2008 with Producers with Computers. Yeah, we took this local band called Producers with Computers on tour with us for a few shows, because they were being managed by Stuart Whiffin, who ended up coming and doing the drunk cast with me and doing hardcore listing. But they were good. Was it? Did they do People Like People Who Don't Give a Fuck? People Like People Who Don't Give a Fuck. They were a bit like Hadouken, but they were kind of part parody, part not parody, it felt. But they had some really good stuff. Face Down. They had a song called Face Down. Get your motherfucking face down, face down. Get your motherfucking face down, face down. whatever happened to that MTV Crib Star video you did around the Thou Shalt Always Kill era? They were all on MySpace. I've now got them off MySpace, but I need to figure out how to convert the type of media files they are to be able to upload them places. But I've now got them. I didn't have them for ages because I can't figure out how to get onto MySpace anymore. Apparently it's all there, but I don't know so much about that. So yeah. People are being fans of Atmosphere, damn right. Tell us about writing Cauliflower, please. Just whatever comes to mind about it. It's such beautiful lyrics. I'll tell you a load about that. That's a good one. So I was originally writing that to be a duet with Adele. Then Adele became the biggest artist in the world. So we were going to do it with Peggy Sue and the Pirates, I think, and we never got round to it. And then Dan made an album with Kid A. The thing there was, there's a song by Dusty Springfield and Lee Harwood called Some Velvet Morning, and it blew me away because it changes. The tempo is different for the male vocal and for the female vocal, and it blew me away. I loved it, and I wanted to do a song like that. So I hit Dan up, and we were gonna. It would have been on the first album, but Dan wasn't as into it as me. There's a few like that took a bit of pressure in, but then it's always getting pushed out of your comfort zone. I think that's one of Dan's best beats. And it was written to duet with Adele because we'd gigged together a load and she was a pal. And there was a night me and Adele were on MySpace together and we were just going through each other's MySpace songs and messaging each other just about how much we liked it. And the idea of Cauliflower was how you can fall in love with someone for the duration of a song. Right? Me and Adele have never had any romantic situation. But when I listen to Daydreamer, fucking hell, I'm in love for the duration of that song. But similarly, there's Gil Scott-Heron songs that I'm in love for the duration of that song. Definitely Johnny Hartman songs. So yeah, that was it. I fell in love with a girl from the city, still got cauliflower ears from when her voice first hit me and a swollen lip from when her lyrics first bit me. Kiss me, and as she went to pull away, ever so gently bit me. And it's about that. You get a song and you just play it and 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 play it. And you kind of kill the song for yourself. But man, it's a beautiful period. So yeah, that was going to be with Adele. As I said, we'd done a load of gigs together and we're pals and we're fans of each other. And then we were touring supporting Mark Ronson and she was doing a load of the dates with Mark. And then, yeah, it didn't work out in the end. Stewpot, A Broken Promise. That a personal one or a made up? All of them are made up. Every song I've ever done other than Cowboy, fiction. Obviously, I draw from real life experience, but then I write fictional songs because I always felt it's the only way I could make a living out of music. If I wrote true stories about real people that I've had real experiences with, I would feel appalling putting that on sale for 79p on iTunes, you know? But writing fictional songs that come from my experiences but are fictional, that felt okay. That felt like a different thing. So, yeah. Toy God, Soldier Boy is a great track. Do you have any stories about making the video with B. Dolan? The main stories I have about Soldier Boy with B. Dolan is me realising what a great dude I am because I did not feel intimidated by the fact he... I can't speak. He absolutely bodied me on that track. His verse pisses all over mine. And I heard it and I was excited. I didn't hear it and go, I heard it and was like, yes, this is good. We had a day off from tour. I rented an army jeep. Weirdly, that day off happened to fall on Remembrance Sunday. So we went and, as I said, I rented I maybe just borrowed an army jeep. And we tore about this field in Chelmsford, I think. lip sync into a song, a anti-war song, anti-military song, I guess. If we're stopping tyrants, why the fuck ain't we in North Korea? And so on and so forth. All relevant these days. Oh, is Dolan in the chat? Here he is. Sorry. No, man. The syllables are perfect in that Dolan. It's amazing. Yeah, and again, it was B. Dolan. The other day, I was thinking how nice it was that you let me suggest hanging your queen. 100%. I heard that and I was like, yeah, we've got a fucking monarchy. I'm doing a track about the ills of the military system, and we've got a fucking monarchy, bruv. So yeah, Dolan absolutely destroyed me on that track, and it was probably my favourite to perform live when we toured, because we'd just get to bounce about. I'd get to hype man. Yeah, that's some good shit. Good memories. And hey, hello to B. Dolan. Do you have any stories that you'd like to share about making Letter from God to Man? Did you have to get Radio's permission for the samples? Did they hear it and tell you what they thought? Damn right. Yeah, so Letter from God to Man, I wrote that as a spoken word piece. I always had that Radiohead song Planet Telex in my head for it because of the Everything Is Broken. And I think I even did, like, I used to produce on just like CDJs. I'd loop bits and sample them into my sampler. So I think I knocked up a really shit version of it. And then Dan Lassac made this absolute beast of a beat. Reluctantly, again, he wasn't a fan of sampling because he's a producer. He's a proper fucking producer. He's not me just going, I'll rap over that track. Like, early rappers are always rapping in the gaps of fucking indie songs or whatever. But yeah, Dan made that beat and it was amazing. But we had to get it cleared. So the album was about a month away from having to go to press and we didn't have clearance yet. And the label got us to make a version without the sample. And me and Dan kind of said, nah. Like, he made it and we listened and we were like, nah, this ain't the one. If it's not got the sample, I'd rather it only exists live. Like, let's not put it on the album. Let's just only ever perform it live. And then last minute, John Kennedy of XFM, who gave us our first ever airplay with Thou Shalt anyway, he had Radiohead in session, and in between, in an advert break or something, he played them Letter from God to Man, and we got the clearance like a couple of days later, a week or so before the cut-off for going to print. So, yeah, man. Absolute madness. I still don't know what I think. Dan always tells me he heard that it was a 3-2 vote or something, or a 3-1 vote. I don't know who counts as the official members of Radiohead. I don't mean that with any disrespect. It's just the production side of things were a big part of the Benz era, the OK Computer era, and things like that. So, yeah, he always said that, but I never know where he heard that or if, who voted which way. But yeah, we did get it cleared. And at that point, I think we were the only band that had been cleared for a Radiohead sample. Maybe Plan B had one on an early thing, but yeah. Anyway. Do you have any lyrics in your head that never made it into any songs? I got bags of lyrics. I stopped writing 7 years ago. That didn't mean I stopped thinking 7 years ago. I've just got no real desire to get them out there, really. It's fine. Nah, I ain't gonna. I was thinking of saying stuff. Although I've just seen that Stream Elements has timed out a B. Dolan for 5 seconds. No doubt for some kind of mistake, but fucking time him out. He suggested we hang our queen. She's still alive. How mad's that? There's one spoken word piece I wrote it was the start of a track. It was spoken word that I recorded. We were out filming just little bits the night of the riots in Croydon. And we filmed this little bit of this spoken word piece and we edited it and we put it together. I think I even uploaded it onto my YouTube, like unlisted or private. And I deleted it in the end. Like, I never put it out there because it felt like, all right, so we're trying to exploit a fucking riot that was an understandable riot in places. So yeah, it was amazing. It would have got fucking heat and traction because we're literally in the middle of a fucking riot, and I'm spitting this piece that I was really proud of. But no, we never did anything with it because it felt like it was exploitative. So that one, charge it to the game. You will see me as fucking peak. You damn right it is. Question from Llama. How pleased were you with yourself for the mousetrap line? Super pleased with myself. Super damn pleased with myself. There was another one in Rat Race. The itch from King Blues ended up nicking off me. But it's all love. The future ain't what it used to be. I was really pleased with that as just a line. And at that point, I don't know if it's been used loads since. At that point, I'd Googled it. You couldn't find it as a quote anywhere. But the future ain't what it used to be. I really liked as a simple line that speaks volumes. And yeah, you see a mousetrap, I see free cheese and a fucking challenge worked. And in the video, like Zane Lowe talked to me about this, in the video it's the passion with which it said, it's all exploding at that point and all the energy's there, that it just worked, man. It clicked. I know you just said you had an iffy relationship with promoting merch, but if you bring back the free cheese and a challenge shirt, I'd buy it in a second. Yeah, I'm fine with promoting merch. Have you seen my socials? I mean, I know I've chilled on it, but I was never a big fan of that shirt. It was all right, but it was a bit of a last minute thing, and all of the other merch on my site I think is dope as fuck. I thought that was a bit of an awkward shirt, and part of the reason for that, I was always wanted to do you see a mousetrap, I see free cheese and a fucking challenge, just there's the lyrics. But I think t-shirts that have swearing on, fucking, they're a bit cringy, aren't they, man? I ain't a teenager anymore. But then blanking it out is a bit cringy as well, and making it just you see a mousetrap, I see free cheese and a challenge isn't the song anymore. So yeah, I don't know. It all felt a bit lame. So I didn't want to head there. I need to speed through this because I've got to be on my way to go and purge some people soon. Who's more of a bad man, Anson Ash or French Bill? Well, I got to spend a lot more time with Anson Ash, so I'd say Anson. But there's rumours going around that French Bill ain't finished, so he's still got time to take that top spot. There's a lot of love for a free cheese line. I must have said that at the time. Do you get more of a buzz from acting or on stage giving it some? From acting, man. But that's just because I don't have the desire to be on stage anymore. The reason I stopped doing the a live podcast was I don't want to be in front of people doing shit. I don't need the attention. Did that work? Yeah. Again, claiming I don't need the attention when I spend hours in front of a webcam playing computer games is ludicrous. But yeah, Dolan, I don't know if he's in still, but Dolan was a big part of that realisation. I remember when Dolan and Sage were gigging, I remember going along and running the merch and supporting because they're my boys and I want to see them, and knowing that if I wanted, I could get up there as a surprise guest. And in the UK, it'd get a pop, you know, people would be excited. But I wanted to do nothing other than watch my boys fucking tear it up. And I had no desire to get up there and be part of it. I loved it when we did do that back in the day, again, on my phone. I've got three different photos of me, Sage, and B that are three. I've got them saved in a folder because they're some of my favourite photos and memories. Because just Sage was one of the reasons I got into this. B was one of the reasons I got good at it. So yeah, to be at their shows, knowing that I've got songs with each of them that I could get up and do in it and get a pop, and they had, always said, if you want to do anything, come on, and just having no desire to, just wanting to stand there and watch these amazing fucking beasts kill it. Yeah, it really told me I was done with music. Because that could have been the easy pop. That could have been the lazy route. Go, well, I don't want to do all the touring and fucking organise and stuff, but get up for fucking 5 minutes and get that adoration. Nah, I weren't about it. Llama is claiming that they tried to organise the chat a different way earlier. It's true, but I didn't think it'd be a problem. And I think Llama put that comment about half an hour ago. I think Llama is probably surprised at how smooth it's been going since then, since I learnt how to pause the chat. Would you ever go back to writing lyrics from Skittles there? Skittles 2? Nah, as I said, I still write loads, but I've got no desire to do anything with them. I've got one song that I often go over when I've got insomnia. I think it's dope. I think it's a dope song, but I'm happy to keep it in the bedroom. The 10:30 cam, ladies and gentlemen. Would you ever write for another person or do a one-off collaboration with someone? Nah, probably not. I tried to write for The Prodigy once. They hit me up to write for them once years ago, and I wasn't good enough a writer at that point. I wrote Scroobius Pip lyrics, essentially, for Keith Flint, which ain't going to work because we're very different. But that was early days. So, yeah. Not really anyone I'd want to write for, or any collaborations particularly. Obviously, there's exceptions. If someone fucking absolutely crazy was like, "Oh, I want you on this one track," I don't know who though. I honestly can't think who. Like I'd always said, like when Prince was alive, he's my favourite artist in the world. He's the last person I'd want to collaborate with because I would ruin a Prince song with all my fucking talking. But yeah. People agreeing on Morrissey. God, I'm well behind, aren't I? Yeah, Fatboy Slim did mention he felt he'd missed out on not being mentioned in Thou Shalt, but I recorded a special one for him. How did it come about sampling Planet Telex? Oh, you cheered with that, man, but I'd already answered that, so hopefully that's okay. Who are your heroes that have inspired your own creative output? 1030 JH. Well, I can't do it all to that camera. Loads of heroes, man. Creatively, I'm really lucky to have got to work with people like Sage Francis and B. Dolan, absolute heroes of mine. But then, to work with Kurt Sutter and Stephen Knight and Tom Hardy and Stephen Graham and all these people there on the Twitch front. David Earl, the biggest influence there. Lemmy, Blind Boy, yourself, 1030, as you can see from the 1030 cam. Dan Lasac, for fuck's sake. I started off as a Dan Lasac fan, and I remain a Dan Lasac fan to this day. So, yeah. There's an American rapper or former rapper and performer called Jean Grey, and we proper connected over the fact that you can do anything and be anything you want to be. And we've met once we've chatted a handful of times. She does amazing music every now and then with her partner Quell Chris, who's also amazing. But she's writing on shows now. She's putting on live things, doing amazing stuff. And that's always been an inspiration, because that was like, oh, here's a rapper that I fucking think has written some of the best rap songs of all time. Kill Screen. Actually, if any of you aren't familiar with Jean Grey Kill Screen, check that song out, because a lot of you here are gamer nerds, and this is a hard, aggressive rap gamer nerd song that's about strong, powerful women. It's dope. You'll like it. Dayla's remix of Thou Shalt is amazing. It is. How mad's that? The first ever single we did, we got to do a version of with Post the News from De La Soul. Madness. Basic question. Sorry if you've had it, but what was your favourite to perform? That's really tough. On the last tours, Gold Teeth was a favourite, because we'd got a lighting guy. How stupid does that sound? But I never realised how important that side of things were, because I'm basic. But we had a lighting guy, and the way he did Gold Teeth was amazing. So that was always good. You Will See Me was always good, but tough, because I'd always have to proper... That was one of the songs that made me realise I could give acting a go, because I'd put everything into that track, and for a little while, I'm glad it ended on a big instrumental bit, because for a little while after that, I'd need to take a breather to emotionally kind of regather myself. The Beat That My Heart Skipped and Stunner were dope to perform live. Introduction, Let 'Em Come was the first song I performed live that got a circle pit, and then got a circle pit almost every time I performed it. So that was a good one. Evening Squire there from Rhymenostrous. That was hours ago. He's probably asleep by now. Cat Demon, do you think it's worth going to university for a creative writing MA? I'm an older student and have a disability/learning difficulty. Yeah, if you feel it's for you, then go and do it. I'm down for all of these things, honestly. I dropped out. I did photography at uni and it wasn't for me, so I dropped out. So I've not done any kind of creative writing course, but we're all different people. So, yeah, I'd say you go for that. Jack Rants, were there any single smaller venue that stands out for you from your early career? Saw you in Dublin on my birthday and was front row for You Will See Me, and it blew me away. Thank you, man. Galway, what's it called? The Rossing Dub was always great. We got bigger than Coco, but we decided to just do multiple nights at Coco, because that's not a small venue, but it was just amazing. It was the perfect venue for us, for what we did. Other ones, Limelight in Belfast. Sneaky Pete's was good. It wasn't the best setup in there. It wasn't the best view, but it was good. What's the... yeah, there's a few. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. How did the collab with Christian Scott come about? Heard the album commentary for the first time the other day, and he says some nice things about you. I've not heard that album commentary. Link me that somewhere, man. That was a mad one. That came out of nowhere. His label approached us. I went and watched him at the Jazz Cafe, and it was one of the best live performances I've ever seen. It felt like I was watching a genius, a proper master. This wasn't like the gigs I'd been to before. This was a unique genius. So, yeah, I wrote Lovesick, and that was like a limited red vinyl or something. But yeah, that's still one of the best gigs I've ever been to. I need to check out that album commentary. Do you remember the time you spent 20 minutes trying to convince us you were the Matalan Till #1 Please voice? Actually, I wasn't the Matalan Till voice. I was the Royal Mail Till voice. Cashier number 1, please. Cashier number 2, please. Cashier number 3, please. Then you do the numbers, the different numbers. That's how I made my first million. You might think that's a big pay, but Royal Mail have got some money, bruv. There's other things going on behind the scenes, believe me. You think they can take a letter from here to Manchester for like 30p? That doesn't even cover the petrol, bruv. What are you talking about? They're running other things. And that's essentially a little routine I used to do in my Edinburgh Fringe show. Thank you for the sub. Or the community gifted sub there, Dafters Ward. Again, catch my Edinburgh Fringe show, man. You can download it on my website, speechdevelopmentrecords.com, or you can get the 2 DVD version with an interview, Tim Key interviewing me, and me sitting down with K Tempest, Moose Rock Wonga, and Polar Bear, chatting, shooting it up. Not shooting up, shoot. No, it wasn't Serbian film, I don't think, Llama. That was ages ago you asked that. I've seen Coming to America. I wasn't talking about Coming to America. Saw you and Dan at Beach Break live years ago in West Wales. Any memories of that gig? Yeah, I remember that gig. I remember getting there. I know we played it twice. I know one time we got there and Dizzy was about and we had a quick interaction with Dizzy. But I think the first year we did there, it was sponsored by Monster, who were owned, it might have been Monster or someone else, but it was an energy drink that was owned by Coca-Cola. And we made a big point of during our shout saying thou shalt not buy Coca-Cola products. Beforehand I said, by the way, there's a line in this song, and I just want to let you know before we get to it, that these people are owned by Coca-Cola. And we didn't know they were the sponsors when we got there. But yeah. So for thou shalt, I threw a can of Monster, or I threw it at the sign or some shit. Rebels. Understand you finish with music career, but as a lyricist, do you still write poems, verses? Yeah, I still write raps. It's always been raps, man. It's never been poems and verses. It's been raps with or without music. Hello, Cater Cakes. That was hours ago as well. Everyone's saying hello to Cater. Cater's getting a shout out. I'm just giving you a rundown of what's happened. Let's stay away from legal stuff about Johnny Depp in chat, please. Good work, Llama. Llama will ban. Llama loves a ban. Yeah, don't worry about that. Are there any lyrics that cause controversy at home or abroad? We did Fixed, which is a song about how I felt UK hip-hop at that time was a bit stale, at a Lethal Bizzle album launch. And I loved Bizzle, or we'd gigged with him a bit, but that caused some tension. We also did it at O2 Wireless, and we had to sign a waiver so that if it caused a riot, they weren't to blame and we couldn't sue for any injuries we got. Because of a song. But we were like, well, we're fucking playing it. Angles, I gave all the names to the people in Angles, the security guards, actual names of security guards I worked with in HMV or used to work with, and apparently one of them got really pissed off at that because the character I wrote was a daft racist. He was a bit of a daft racist. No, he probably wasn't a daft racist, but he was a bit of a macho kind of, I'm going to intimidate everyone type guy. But it wasn't actually about him. So yeah. Did you hear my tummy then? Will anything make you go back to it? No, I've no desire to do music anymore. I really enjoyed it, but I fucking love this acting lark now, and this Twitch lark ain't too bad. More artists had quit while they're ahead. This is the kind of question I need after all the ones about music and still writing. As much as I'd welcome more music from you, what you've got there is a perfect set of albums. There's still songs I look back at and go, oh, no, that's shit. I'd kind of like to do a greatest hits to kind of go, here's the good ones, here's the ones I'm proud of. But I don't know if we'll ever do that. But yeah, as I said, You Will See Me is my favourite thing that I've written, and that's the last track on my last album. And I think that's kind of a fucking dope send-off. I think everyone who's into my stuff, if they hear that, will go, that's a good way to end. Did you ever seek any formal training for your acting or screenwriting? This is Words Wednesday, finer than. But yeah, I did. I started off with no training, and then I was like, right, this is going well. I don't want to take anything for granted, so I got Tom Hardy to recommend one of his old acting teachers, and I went and did a load of courses with him. James Kemp, he's amazing, works out of Camden, and does loads of online stuff at the moment. Actually, what's it called? Effort Productions. So yeah, I did a bit of that. And yeah, on the screenwriting now, I've just read loads of scripts. A mate of mine who's an award-winning, like literally BAFTA-winning, Oscar-nominated screenwriter said to me, don't necessarily bother with script writing books, just read loads of scripts. You're already reading scripts, because I was already acting at that point. It's like you're already reading scripts from Guy Ritchie and from Kurt Sutter and from Stephen Knight, so learn from them and go from there. Rhyme Nostrous, where's the best crowd to play to and why is it Glasgow? Glasgow is always a rowdy crowd. Glasgow was a favourite because of Dan had some mates in Glasgow. I got family in Edinburgh. I mean, there's probably a mixed Scottish crowd in the room tonight, but Glasgow crowd-wise was obviously always the best. All of Ireland was always amazing. Northern Ireland, Belfast is the loudest crowd we've ever had. I remember walking out on stage at one of the Belfast gigs and genuinely going like, oh, because it was just a wall of sound. But yeah, Leeds and Manchester are always great, but that's always easy to play them off each other as well. As soon as they started hearing that they're my favourites, they'd up their game. And it's mad, people like Rhyme Nostrous and Cater and people like that, people who are in the game are aware of who I am. In Hell of a... Oh, here we go. Jack Rant. This is a deep cut. In Hell of a Week, you were approached by two fans who interrupt you to talk about being a previous Pip gig. Was that legit or staged? That was staged. It was all staged. So Hell of a Week is a thing I did for Radio 4 or someone, I think. And yeah, I it was all staged. I worked with the BBC team there to sound produce it. I'd recorded it genuinely in my car, but it was all, I guess it was, the start of any acting, I guess. Cheered how? Oh, there's cheers on Twitch. It's not worth explaining. Source of joy. I love how convincing the worlds you create are. In so many songs, I can entirely feel the universe created. It really tickles my creative sensibilities to hear it's made up. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And as I said, it's one of the things that, it's one of the reasons I'm so addicted to script writing now. Because doing songs and music videos, I was all about creating worlds and creating these real characters that everyone would have think is true because I'm the one performing it. I'm always writing it in first person. But to then get to do this with scripts and with TV show ideas and film ideas is like, wow, I've been playing in an indoor football pitch and now I'm allowed to go and play in a field. It's wicked. God, I worded that well, didn't I? I'm a fucking good writer, to be fair. Adele would have smashed that. Adele would have. How did Lovesick come about? I spoke about that a bit earlier then. Yeah, this is lovely. Llama just commenting there how lovely it is. This is a lovely little stream, isn't it? I might have to do another one of these because I don't want to do too much longer, but I feel there's so many of you and it's so nice. I'm going to do more, but after this, for those who are new, I've been playing a game on here for a few weeks now called Rust, and tonight is the night that we all kill each other. It doesn't sound appealing, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to that as well. So I'll be going in a bit. I'll stop the stream and start a new one, but if you stay here, then you can come on that journey as well. Anyway, I'm not stopping yet. I promise. Don't log off. Don't leave me. A best video. Miss Kitsune in here. It's gutting that we never got to do any music videos, man. It's because the track that we did together was a cover of a Kate Bush song, and I'm still not convinced I was allowed to cover that. I got permission and I got a thumbs up, but still not convinced it was completely cleared. Oh, a Prime subscription from B. Dolan as I live and breathe. Right, apparently at some point I was on the verge of Twitch TOS. That's probably about hanging the Queen. Maybe not. May have been. Maybe not. I'm going through. Or what's the addiction in the struggle? The addiction is murder. And I have my addictions, or maybe my addictions have me. So it's kind of have that control. No, is it I have my addictions, or maybe my addictions have me? Either way, it's murder. He's into killing people. Some answers are long and poetic, some answers are short. Thank you for the subscription, Pear Ninja. Oh, B. Dolan I got timed out for slagging off Tom York. Damn right. Have some respect. I'd love to have Tom York on the podcast. Speaking of filming on the street, what was the inspiration behind the videos for No Nimbus and No Whimpers? Inspiration was I'd heard a track and written over the track in like 24 hours. I wanted to basically hear a track, write a track, record a track, shoot a video for the track and release the track all within 7 days. So start to finish, conception to completion in 7 days. So the No Nimbus one, I spoke to this dude Tom, who is amazing. Tom is okay really, I think. And I had my puppets and I learnt it and performed it. And then the next one, No Whimpers, I got these amazing dancers from my mate Gemma's dance school. And yeah, all of them, both of those songs, the creative process was start to finish in 7 days. They're both songs I rapped over someone else's song. But on both of them, I heard that song on day 1, and by day 7, it's all completed. So basically, like God. Anyone you currently rate lyrically in the UK scene? Obviously, my homie K Tempest is number 1, but there's loads of people. The UK scene's amazing at the moment. Dave's amazing. Stormzy's amazing. Gets is so dope. Yeah, there's loads of good people, man. But I'm not listening to half as much music as I used to. Did you hear I said as I used to then? Because I was talking about grime, and I live in a rough area, but I'm not the exact same, but I kind of assimilated it then. Time to write another book, Pip. I don't know if it is. Here's a tipped one. What was Lama saying? If we're okay to come back to the epic mousetrap line, you got an image of what kind of mousetrap it was. It's up there with the future tattoos, along with stabbed a pen in my leg and mixed the pen with the red. I'll post a picture at some point. I don't know if I've got any in this drawer. I think it's in my drawer upstairs. I bought a load of just plain wood mousetraps and wrote the lyrics on in my handwriting. And I bought like 10. And I was like, right, how do I get these out? I'll sling them on eBay. And people got mad at me because they were like, oh, you're just trying to make the most money. And I was like, well, no, it's just if I put them on sale somewhere and there's 10, how do I make it fair? But I just ended up, I took them all off eBay. I sent one, I think, to a lad called Keith. I put a few about. But yeah, I just fucked him off. I was like, I just thought this was cool and artistic, and now you're all on my case, so fuck it. I'll put them in a drawer beside my bed. B is in the house enjoying the 10:30 cam. Snike, I'm going to start to round things up. So I'm just seeing B Dolan is saying he's going to produce an EP for me when I'm in my Johnny Cash Twilight, maybe. What was the inspiration for Domestic Silence? Umbrellas keep out sunshine as well as rain was always a favourite lyric. Yeah, that was another one that was a syllable and quick rhyme thing. Let me introduce a recluse with his neck and a noose that got loose and it slipped out. And the idea was I'd written a lot about suicide because it's something that's touched my life in various ways. And I wanted to write something about failing to kill yourself and kind of how impactful that could be. And just talking to people. Obviously, as said, from day one, I've worked with mental health charities and stuff like that. And that's where that one was. Anyway. There's loads of love in the room. The highlighted messages are working. That cam is chef's. It's a good cam, isn't it? As I said, I stole it completely off of 10:30. I saw 10:30 doing it. And I got in here half an hour before my set on my stream today. No, 24 minutes before my stream. I quickly started plugging it in to see if it works, and I'm a professional streamer now. Right, I think I can wrap things up now. Jean Grey, some love for Jean Grey there. I just randomly found you on Twitch and now listen to you today for the first time. Have you ever listened to the influence by the punk poets John Cooper Clarke? John is someone I've gigged with, and I love John dearly. I had him on the podcast as well. I remember I did a gig. Me and John were headlining this poetry festival in Europe, and like one night it was in Den Haag, another night it was in somewhere else. And John put me over so well. He was like, everyone always said that Chris Jericho can put over a new wrestler. John Cooper Clarke was my Chris Jericho that night, because they all wanted to see John. They didn't know who I was, but we're doing a Q&A, and they'd asked John a question, and he would answer. Almost everyone was like, you see, me and Pip are similar in that way, because like on Thou Shalt Always, like it'd bring me into all of them. The dude's a gentleman and a legend. Thank you for the raid, Mr. Edge. Right, I'm gonna put a line under it there. I know I've just had a raid, but Edgy Boy, I'm gonna be going on to Rust now. I know you're a Rust fan. Yeah, I'm going to just scroll to the bottom now, ignore all of these. God, there's loads I didn't get to. I'm sorry, guys, but that just tells me we're going to do another Words Wednesday at some point. Maybe not next week, but at some point soon. Yes, Edge, it's Purge night. So I'm going to play a bit of my intro. I'm going to stop this stream, but I think you guys can all just stay here if you want to. Is that the case, Llama? If I stop and start a new stream, all they'll have to do is refresh. Man, that was an amazing success. I really enjoyed that, guys. Yeah, we'll definitely do another one of these soon. Please stick around. I'm now going to play a game called Rust on Lemmy's Rust server, and probably going to end up dying a lot until Llama saves me, and then we'll die a lot together. Guzbo and Cade will probably save me and Llama. Then we'll die a lot together. 10:30 will save all of us and then kill all of us in a massive turn of the tides. And that's the plan. This has been Words Wednesday. We're going to have to do another one. It won't be next week, but it'll be soon. Stick around. Have a listen to this. And then we'll start a new one.